Hi, this is Mark Ronson. I'm here at Waterstones Piccadilly. This is my new book that's coming out September 16th. It's called Night People, How to Be a DJ in 90s NYC. In some ways, it's the most useless how-to book ever because you'll never be a DJ in 90s NYC, but I'd like to think it's a very interesting book that I wanted to shed light on what goes into DJing, the emotional connections between the crowd and the DJ, and this lovely feedback loop of human happiness. I wanted to talk about the 90s hip-hop era in New York City, which was so great because, you know, I was out in the clubs DJing for Biggie and Wu-Tang and all these people. And then also why we go out at night, you know? Some people they love music, some people it's to get messed up, some people to hook up, whatever it is. But I wanted to sort of talk about all these things that I find very interesting. So seeing we're in this amazing record section of the shop, I thought I'd pick out some things that maybe even relate to the book. I mean, this is one of the all-time classic albums, D'Angelo Voodoo. I wanted the book just to only be in the 90s because I just wanted it to have this finite sense, and the 90s was such an incredible time to be in New York. It was before camera phones, before bottle service, all these things that made it a great time. So the book really ends, okay, technically it's January 2000. I was DJing the album release party for D'Angelo's Voodoo. It was a very seismic moment. The party was great, and at that moment, my hero through the book, DJ Premier from Gangstar, came into the booth. I was playing a song that I made, Nika Costa, and he came and he said, "Who made this record?" And I thought, because my style at the time was so much of a DJ Premier clone, I thought he was like angry, like, "Who's ripping off my style?" And I was like, I made this record, sir." And he was like, "This is hard." And he just stood there for 3 minutes bobbing his head. So that's kind of one of the most important experiences really ever in my career. And that was right there with DJ Premier. This is another one of my absolute favorite records from the 90s, De La Soul is Dead. This came out just a little bit before I started DJing, but roller skating jam named Saturdays, just a record I played to death in the 90s. A lot of people were kind of down on this record because it came out after 3 Feet High and Rising, which was really positive and this very sunny record, and then they came with this. But there's so many incredible tracks on this. I love it. I'm Glad You're Mine. I mean, this has I'm Still in Love with You and Love and Happiness, so many incredible tunes on it. But I'm Glad You're Mine had this breakbeat that was really popular. It sampled in a lot of hip-hop songs. So in that era, I was playing a lot of hip-hop, but I was also really, you know, obsessed with finding the original samples and going to all these record fairs and like these mysterious Japanese record dealers that where you would go to find the original breaks because you would play them in the club and everyone would flip out like, "Oh, that's where they got that from." I'm not gonna lie to you and tell you that I didn't used to play Don't Panic in the club. When Coldplay first came out, it wasn't that big in America in the beginning. Like, it was so big here right off the bat. So it was something like, cool, I'd be playing in these hip hop clubs and I would play Stone Roses and, you know, different records and AC/DC and White Stripes and mixed it into the hip hop set. And that's sort of a little bit what I became known for in New York. And I remember playing Don't Panic at Lotus, which was this night where like Method Man and Lil' Kim were there, but it was a really beautiful song and it was 120 beats per minute, so I played it. This is also another great record that really doesn't have a whole lot to do with DJing, but this is my daughter, one of her favorite records, the song Coyote especially. And you know, she's 2.5. I think she got into it when she was not even 2 yet. And there's that, every time Joni Mitchell says the word coyote in this song, she giggles. It's a funny word, coyote. It's like, what does it mean? This is another completely 90s era defining album. While I was writing the book, sometimes music was my best friend to like conjure up these memories of the clubs. Like, you know, it's 30 years ago. I'd done some damage to my brain cells since then, surely. So some of the memories are a little hazy, and then I can hear a song a song like Busta Rhymes, Put Your Hands Where My Eyes Could See, or a song like Shook Ones From Here, and just suddenly remember the club, the smells, how sweaty, how humid, how muggy it was. One of those songs that like, it just changed the molecules, the entire atmosphere of the club. You would just play it from the very beginning line, and it just suddenly like, you just felt everybody in the club, like the excitement was so palpable. What's this, 79? So this record would have been 14 years old. And I remember playing Don't Stop Till You Get Enough in my early sets and thinking how old that sounded. Now if you think about it, that's only 14 years. Like, that's, Drake's first album is older than that. Like, it's so crazy to think that how time and everything and eras are throwbacks. So yeah, but there's an anecdote early in the book where Sean Lennon, son of John and Yoko, was one of my best friends growing up, and he knew Michael Jackson. And one time Michael Jackson came over to his house, and I was there, and Michael was kind of like, felt like a kid who never really grew up, and he was running around doing all this stuff, and I at that time was already making music at 13, and I was just demanding that Michael Jackson sing me a bass line that I could then go turn into a song. And I actually still remember the bass line. Michael sang it when doom doo doo doom doom doo 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 doom doom doo doo doom doom. He really just did sing me a bass line. Was like, go turn it into a song. And I was like, this is cool, but it sounds kind of ripped off from Smooth Criminal. Outcast. This is another. I mean, both of these records, because this had Elevators, which was like in New York, was like when Atlanta and the like southern sound and the slower tempos really started to dominate New York clubs, because up to then, you know, the sound had been like very New York. And then this obviously has Miss Jackson, and I used to play Humble Mumble off of here, So Fresh and So Clean. I mean, this had so many beloved club records in New York. This is another. I went to this concert when I was 9 years old at Radio City. I was like always obsessed with music, harassing my mom to take me to concerts. This was super interesting because this is a little later than 90s. What is this, 2003? Seven Nation Army really was one of those songs that just, it was just so good that it just, you could play it in a hip hop set. You heard DJs like Kid Capri like play this. Like it was such a game changer in a way, because myself and other DJs I knew, we were already playing rock and roll and some indie stuff in our sets, but Seven Nation Army was just a song that you would hear everywhere. Now I absolutely love the Bee Gees, but back then I was like, oh yeah, Bee Gees, you don't really play that in a club. It's kind of more like wedding music. This album just, and then I remember DJing with Q-Tip one time, who was one of my heroes, but you know, we became friends later in the 90s and started DJing together. And I saw him play one night. We were playing back to back, and he picked out Night Fever, or maybe More Than a Woman. I remember being like, oh, so Q-Tip's playing this. It's okay to play this. Oh, here we go. Why not? Barbie, this is a soundtrack that I worked on for like about a year, and did the score for the film with my partner, Andrew. And this was just an incredible experience. You know, it started off just doing 2 songs, Dance the Night with Dua and I'm Just Ken, and then having such a great bond and rapport with Greta Gerwig, the director, that we just ended up doing all the music for the film. And I mean, obviously Billy and Phineas wrote the incredible song that they did, but yeah, it was just such a great, it was a great time. So I started writing the book, and then I took 9 months off to do the Barbie film, and then I came back to finishing the book.